Video games are meant to be fun, so why not play games that make you laugh? These games and hopefully this video should do that. Here are the top 10 free funny games on Itchio you don't know about. Mr. Krabs Commits Arson is a third-person shooter where you play as Mr. Krabs, who's trying to secure the bag of money he and SpongeBob lost after their plane crash.
Are you boys alright?
We'll be taking this.
Damn!
You play as Mr. Krabs but with a flamethrower and go to different parts of the map killing enemies and fights. The gameplay is nothing special as the game only has 2 enemy types, both of which aren't challenging. It's just very odd seeing Mr. Krabs burning Bikini Bottom residents. The game also has robotically voice-acted cutscenes that really sell the illusion that this is an authentic SpongeBob game.
You guys are actually cheeks. He's about to leave Bikini Bottom.
You may clap your cheeks, my guy.
My favorite part was being able to die during cutscenes, so throwing a Molotov at Plankton that I happened to be standing in was great. If you're looking for a lost SpongeBob game, then I recommend Mr. Krabs Commits Arson. Eat the Rich is a very odd game where you control a mob of Black Friday shoppers as you try to grab and buy all of the Black Friday items. You go into a store and your wobbly mob will grab whatever item they come into contact with, then you get money for bringing it back past the cashier line. You have to try and get as much money as you can before the timer runs out. After each level, you get to spend the money you earned on upgrades like more time, discounts which gets you more money per item, or increased mob size, making it progressively easier to get more money. Controlling the mob is chaotically difficult as some of them will get stuck on objects or throw themselves through walls. If you're looking for a chaotic game with some wobbly physics, then I recommend Eat the Rich. Game of the Year 420 Blaze It vs XXX Illuminati XXX WoW /10 hashtag Rect Edition Montage Parody. The game is a meme-oriented FPS game, as I'm sure you are able to tell by the title. It's an epileptic nightmare as the game tries its very best to overwhelm your senses. Every time you kill an enemy, some kind of meme plays and covers the screen, making it very difficult to play, which is obviously the point. There's also rave music constantly blasting, which really ties in well to the ear rape sound effects. What better way to heal than by picking up Doritos and Mountain Dew? You'll get different guns that actually feel very good to use. Around levels there are giant Mountain Dew cans you can shoot, creating a slow-mo explosion. If you're looking for an absurd meme shooter that'll give you a seizure, then I recommend Game of the Year 420 Blaze It vs XXX Illuminati XXX WoW /10 hashtag Rect Edition Montage Parody. The game. Draw Your Own Adventure is a narrated adventure game where you draw your own characters in the story. You know what that means.
Come on, kids. Let's draw a hero.
Yes, I have the maturity of a middle schooler and nothing to lose. All of the humor came from the serious narrator telling a legit adventure story but using my stupidly drawn characters. I had quite a time thinking of characters and putting my superb drawing skills to the test. There's not a lot of colors and no erasers, so whatever you draw you're stuck with, for better and worse. Throughout the story you'll make decisions that affect the outcome of that particular scene.
Kiss! Say shut kiss!
Our hero recognizes a bandit and cautiously gets closer.
It was honestly some of the most fun I've had because the humor comes from whatever you decide to put into the game. If you're looking for an unintentionally funny drawing game, then I recommend Draw Your Own Adventure. Baby's First Firehouse is a 2D platformer where you save giant babies from an ever-growing house fire.
Baby's First Firehouse?
You're a fucking idiot.
You play as 2 firefighters that you control at the same time, although it often just feels like one since they get lined up on walls a lot of the time. Anyway, you have different items you can use in the house fire, like a water gun to put out fires or a healing aura to not take damage. The fire is too big to stop, so you have to manage what to do in order to best rescue as many babies as possible before the whole house catches fire, killing the remaining babies. If you're looking for a frantic 2D platformer that fulfills your firefighting dreams of chucking a baby out a window, then I recommend Baby's First House Fire. Lil Flutie 3D Director's Pandemic Edition is a third-person platformer where you explore 4 unique worlds while gathering collectibles. First of all, the main character looks like this and can pee on command. The peeing is used to grow certain mushrooms, which then serve as platforms. You have a jump and a dash, which makes movement super fluid as you can chain them together. The controls are tight and you can stop on a dime. You do fall very fast, so there's no room for error after you use your dash. Around levels, you'll find collectibles, which you can then use to unlock the next world in the game. The platforming challenges are well designed, and checkpoints are placed just after a hard section, which you can then warp back to, making getting around the world very efficient. If you're looking for a weird looking but tight 3D platformer, then I recommend Lil Flutie 3D Director's Pandemic Edition. Graybox Testing is a puzzle game where you solve puzzles by exploiting bugs in the game. The game sort of disguises itself initially as just another first-person puzzle game with boxes, but quickly becomes its own thing. It's actually one of the more creative puzzle games I've played, as you have to think back to potential bugs you might have come across in other games, but use them as solutions here. The glitchy graphic serves as a helpful hint, letting you know you're on the right track by using an exploit. All of the humor stems from the narrator, as he's constantly breaking the fourth wall and referencing the game. He even makes fun of you if you get stuck for a while,
To be honest, I thought you would have figured this out by now.
but does offer hints if you get stuck for too long.
And just letting you know, I'm not saying that this is going to be a useful thing for like this level or anything, but you can press the E key or the P key or the escape key to pause the game.
If you're looking for a very unique puzzle game with a hilariously dry narrator, then I recommend Gray Box Testing. A Firm Handshake is a weird experimental game where you try to shake people's hands. You go around the minimalist levels attempting to shake the hands of other men in suits. It's very simple, but each of the game's short levels shakes up the gameplay a bit or adds in a new challenge. It's oddly melancholic in its design. The game is only 5 minutes long, but if you're looking for a strange game, then I recommend A Firm Handshake. 3 AM at the Krusty Krab is a horror game where Mr. Krabs stays up late counting his money, but has to gather all of his things and escape the Krusty Krab before the killer comes. You know I couldn't just have one Mr. Krabs game. You go around the Krusty Krab looking for particular items on your list. The killer comes in at timed intervals right after the lights flicker, so you have to make sure you're barricaded in your office by then. Once you gather all of the items on your list, you get a key to the basement. Here you have to go around and find another key while avoiding the killer who's roaming around. If you're looking for a more spooky Mr. Krabs game, then I recommend 3 AM at the Krusty Krab. No More Papers, Please is a physics-based game about working overtime at a stressful job. That doesn't sound very fun, but it's darkly comedic in tone, as you have to hurry to get tasks done, but they never seem to end. You have to stamp papers with the corresponding stamp color, scan QR codes with your phone, sign papers with your pencil, and shred papers with stains. You want to get home to your wife, but people keep giving you more work. It gets very overwhelming as you can hardly keep track of where anything is, as you're constantly fumbling items around. Eventually you do get into a rhythm and it becomes oddly relaxing, if a bit depressing. If you're looking for a tragic comedy, then I recommend No More Papers, Please. Those were the top 10 free funny games on Itchio you didn't know about. I'll have my playlist of free Itchio games you don't know about, as well as my video about free funny games on Steam, linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe to see more videos like this in the future.